Hi, I'm Melissa Cote. The fastest way to achieve success is to find someone who's already done an amazing job at what you want to do, and then have them explain to you exactly what they did to get there. We all rise by lifting others.
Hi, I'm Nycki Carter, and we are the founders and owners of Insporise, a platform where we can connect wildly successful people with aspiring successful people. And over the next 30 minutes, you are going to hear from someone who is truly inspiring. Hello. I'm Nycki Carter. I am a co-owner of Insporise, and I'm so excited to be here with these two amazing women. Today we are here, and it's going to look a little bit different than some of the other interviews for a couple of reasons. The first reason is, one, it's Labor Day. My kids are home. Melissa's kids are home. Chelsea's kids are home. We're all doing kind of a little bit of a mommy thing. So it's going to be a little more informal, but super, super informational. We are so excited to get to chat with Chelsea. And Melissa is going to explain our amazing guest and let us know the second reason why it's a tiny bit different today.
Hi, everyone. This is Melissa, the other co-owner of Insporise, and we're here with Chelsea. The reason why this interview is going to look a little different than what we've done before is because instead of talking with someone who is very far down the road of their business or their success, we are interviewing Chelsea, who is at the beginning of her road. And the reason why we wanted to do this is because for those of you who either are aspiring entrepreneurs or, have a goal in mind, there are a lot of steps that happen between even the conceptual idea of it, even before the idea of it, to getting to that, down the road of success. And we believe that not only can successful people help you, but also watching someone's journey of starting out. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Chelsea and start with her story, and we will learn so much.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Kovacevick. I am the owner and founder of Blessed Belly Events. It is a baby shower exclusive event planning company, and I've started my business this year. I'm so excited to be here.
So fun. Okay, so yes, between Melissa's intro and meeting Chelsea is brand new to her business. She just started. We're kind of helping her move along in the process of what it looks like, not only just to come up with a name and a website and a page and all of these things, but how do I get views? How do I get my first customer? How much do I charge my first customer? Where do I get inventory? Like all of these questions that she's having in an event planning business. And so because Insporise is about learning from other people, we really wanted to have a transparent interview where Chelsea could ask questions, we could give her tips and kind of show the entire process of what it might look like to help grow and up your business, like Melissa had touched on. So before we get into tips, Chelsea, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to the place of wanting to start an event planning business for baby shower specifically?
Yeah, of course. So I have a background in food service, everything from being a dishwasher when I was 15 years old, all the way up to management. And so customer service and guest experience has always been just something that I've become an expert in, so to speak. But every day is different. So here I am, new baby. Well, now she's 8 months old, but newer baby, not going back to work because it just didn't seem like it was ever in the cards for us as a family for me to go back to my job. I didn't want to be away from her for an extended period of time, but I always wanted to work for myself at the baseline, always wanted to work for myself. Working for companies is great, but I just feel like I had a bigger vision and could take it further than, other people had thought of as well. And so Melissa has been a dear friend actually for, God, I don't know, 10 years, 10 years.
I would go with that.
And so we're just on the phone one day and I'm a little bit down in the dumps and, just talking about, God, what could I do? I have all these visions, but nothing seems like it just fits the mold of what I want to do. And I said, I really want to work with people. But it's just hard with a baby. And I had planned my baby shower and I had planned my wedding, and everybody that attended it said that it was just beautiful and gorgeous and I should do that for a living. And I'm like, no, whatever. And so I had mentioned something to Melissa about it. And she said, yeah, I mean, absolutely. You 100%. So that's where it just spiraled into an idea. And I just did copious amounts of research and said, yeah, I really think that this is my true passion. I mean, just even planning my daughter's, birthday parties, I go over the top to the point that people are like, is this a, professionally produced event in here? And the joy of, I actually planned a good friend's baby shower, and it was their rainbow baby. And if anybody isn't familiar what a rainbow baby is, if you've lost a baby or had a miscarriage, it's the baby that you have after that. And they call it a rainbow baby. So they had a successful childbirth, and I actually planned their baby shower. And I was like, the look on their face of seeing their event come, all that they did was say, hey, these are a couple of ideas that we have. And I took it and ran with it. And that's how Blessed Belly Events was born.
Love it.
So, yes, I am so excited about your journey for so many reasons. Number one, I feel very privileged that I get to experience this with you because as both of you know, I am a serial entrepreneur. I love everything business, and you being one of my very dear friends, I would never push entrepreneurism on anyone. And unless somebody came to me and said, like, that's my path, that's what I want to do, I would never try to be like, you should do this. So it's amazing that you've always kind of felt like that was in the cards for you, and that no matter what happens in someone's life, there usually is a moment. If they, have that desire to be an entrepreneur, there's usually a moment where they say, wow, this has been there the whole time, and I didn't even know it. And it could be a new baby. It could be they moved. It could be they switched jobs, whatever the case may be. But the fact that you've had this inside of you the whole time and it's manifesting itself now, I feel very privileged to be part of this with you. And I'm really, really excited to watch this unfold.
Oh,
I want to touch on that too, because I particularly relate and love this story and the same concept. And I think it's way more common than we think. This was what pushed me to start my business too, right? Is I had this new baby. I was working 60 hours a week at a law firm. The daycare was literally taking my entire paycheck. I hated it. I wanted to be near her. If she was sick, I still had to pay for childcare. If I was sick, I still had to pay for childcare, and we had to be together, there were so many obstacles. And then, of course, the mommy hormone loving baby. You're like, my baby is little and they smell good and they want to cuddle me. And I'm not even going to get into all the struggles of mom entrepreneurs, breastfeeding and trying to be at work and you're in an office, and those things were miserable for me. I definitely lived through that for I think 8 to 10 months. And then I walked away and I was like, you know what, I'm going to figure out what this is. So just now, I've been in your shoes, and I know that it feels very intense to be like, how am I going to generate the income? And this seems a little bit more unstable. And, people are going to tell me that the 9 to 5 is safe, and 401ks are safe, and health insurance are safe, which I know Melissa loves that topic about blocking out the noise. So if you want to touch on that, because I think it's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what I experienced at the very beginning, but you just have to be able to block out the noise.
Yeah, we're gonna, I think, in a few minutes, we're gonna go into some tips that we've learned along the way. And I think that is another reason why Inspirize is such an amazing resource. It was definitely something that we needed in our lives as entrepreneurs, but because as entrepreneurs, we go down this journey and it's different for everybody. Everybody's looks different. And there's things that you experience and roadblocks and triumphs and so much that you like pick up, and for people to be able to share those things with other people, especially the roadblocks and the, you know, deterrents and things, because if we can save another fellow entrepreneur the time of going down that same road that we went down, and saving them from having to make those same mistakes, then they can do this a lot faster because they can skip over all of those roadblocks. So definitely one thing that I have experienced in my journey is that there's always going to be somebody that is going to have an opinion. Basically, like, it could be an amazing opinion, it could be a neutral opinion, and sometimes it can definitely be an opinion that could, for lack of a better term, Chelsea, I'm going to use what you said, piss in your Cheerios. Like, it could definitely make you feel like, oh no, I can't do this. And it's so funny and how quickly that self-doubt can start rolling in, and when, at moments that you don't even realize. You could be like in the shower or brushing your teeth and be like, wait a minute, I'm not an entrepreneur, I don't know how to do this. Like, you know what, I should just quit, I should just go get a job. Like, it can happen so quick, and it happens to all of us, and it happens to the best of us and stuff. So not to jump too far ahead into our tips, but definitely staying on your path, knowing what is true to you, blocking out the noise, like Nycki said, and really just knowing that no matter what you think that you can achieve, you can, and staying true to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you, and everybody is going to have their own opinion. And I feel like that relates back to my business, of it being specifically exclusive to planning baby showers. Everybody has their opinion about how to be a mom and how to be a dad, right? So it relates right back to business and entrepreneurships. Like, oh, well, that's not going to work. Okay, well, watch. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Stay on that mentality. Why not do birthday parties? Why not do engagement? Like, everyone is going to have, you're like, you know why? Because do you want to upfront invest in 19 different niches? No, you know, you're like, this is what I was passionate about. This is what I want to copy. This is, you know, what I want to do. Yep.
And it hits home for me. I'm a mom through and through. I met my husband, and he had a daughter already. That he was bringing into the relationship. And so I had a ready-made family. And when I was much younger, I was told that I was not going to be able to conceive. So for me personally, I was never going to be able to plan my own baby shower. That was just never going to be in the cards for me. And then I found out that I was pregnant, like literally by the grace of God. And that, oh my gosh, I can finally plan my baby shower. I feel like women are always excited about two things, except for Melissa, the wedding and the baby shower. She's not a party planner by any means. She paid all the money for that.
Yes, you're hired, Chelsea.
So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I can finally do something that I've always dreamed of. So that was really, really exciting for me. And then, like you said, you know, when you have a child, it's really hard to do the 9 to 5. I could go and work anywhere, but how am I supposed to have a kid and do pickups and dance and cheer and all the things, and nursing in between? So this just was the perfect thing for me to do. That was a huge passion of mine and a dream of mine that just came full circle for sure.
Yeah. So I know that what I was hearing was you're like, I'm a bonus mom. I had this miraculous experience with my baby shower and having my own baby. So it sounds like that's where a lot of your inspiration comes internally. Do you have any public figures or outside like women that you look up to that inspire you mentally to like keep moving?
Absolutely. So in the day to day, it's definitely Melissa. I mean, she just is always, she's a friend first and foremost, but just in the bigger picture of business ideas. And it's just inspiring to see both of you kind of take this business of Insporise and skyrocket. And so the day-to-day is definitely Melissa, but overall, I would say that a huge influence in my life is the CEO and founder of the app Bumble. It's a dating app, ironically enough, where I met my husband.
Love it.
So cute.
And she actually took her business and started it because she was sexually harassed and discriminated against when she was working at another dating app called Tinder. And she was just so down about her experience that she decided to develop an app and a website and a dating app that specifically was women making the first move, so that they didn't have to feel pressured into anything. And I feel like that's so great that she took her personal experience. That was a horrible one, but instead of being negative about it, she just took it. And I mean, she's now literally a billionaire.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Whitney's
And
the boss.
her name's Whitney Wolf. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a really, really, really great one. I think a lot of women can look up to and aspire from the fact that not only was she working for a huge company, even at the time, Tinder was huge. And you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to compete against the man, for the lack of better words, or I'm going to compete against the man. Like, it's awesome. It was that's a great one to bring up.
That really, anytime I hear stories like that always brings me back to one of my favorite things about business, which is that most people create something, especially something so innovative and new and whatnot. They create it because there was a need. There was a need in their own life that they looked around and couldn't find the solution. And they said, you know what, if there isn't this in the world already, I'll bring it to the world. And that is how the most extraordinary businesses are created. And it's just that's one of my favorite inspiring things.
Yeah. And I mean, even to say, Melissa had asked me, and honestly and truthfully, with us being that we're being very candid in this, and I'm building this business from the ground up, I don't need to work. My husband makes enough money that I don't need to work. However, it's a passion of mine and something that I could go to sleep even better every night, knowing that I made my client so happy and their family so happy. So Melissa had asked me, if you were a millionaire and money was no option, would you still want to do this? And the answer is yes. So there are people that come from all sorts of circumstances, especially on Insporise itself. And for me personally, even though it's not a need for me to go into a business, it's a want, and the passion and the fire that I have has become a need. I need to do it. Like, it's an obsession at this point.
Sounding like a true entrepreneur.
Right?
As we're sitting here on Labor Day weekend, just in case I try not to tell the times and days, but in case anyone was curious, it's Labor Day. We could totally be at the pool having a nice drink and a barbecue, but here we are doing the hustle, learning, doing awesome tips. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Okay, so I think the next kind of segue is, we heard about your inspirational person. What do you think, do you have a business mantra or a motivational quote that you just have to like keep telling yourself in order to like move forward and stay like that. We know it's the need, you have the fire, but sometimes when you hear those outside sources, like we talked on, you have to have like one thing that you repeat to yourself to keep you moving. Do you have something like that?
Yeah. Actually, you're probably going to laugh. Dolly Parton is just one of the most incredible women like to ever walk the planet. And I remember listening to an interview with her, and she was saying, you'll never do a whole lot unless you're brave. And you try. And so as scary as it is starting a new business when just like Melissa touched on, I could do the 9 to 5. I could figure it out and go get a babysitter. So it's scary going into this, but it's the most exciting thing I've ever done. There's this comedian, and his name is Kyle Cease, and he talks about how like the scale of emotions, how when you're a 10, you're so excited that you're scared. And that's how I feel. I'm so excited that I'm nervous little butterflies going. But it is so exciting and so fulfilling to know that it's possible and there's a future, and I know that it can be a lucrative business. So yeah.
Love it. Yeah. I have 2 thoughts. My first one is I have a similar saying that I say all of the time about fear and excitement. So chemically in your body, fear and excitement are the exact same
That's what I was going to say too.
Yes. And I was like, Melissa's probably going to want to touch on this.
Yeah.
It's just your mindset. You're either scared to jump or you're excited to jump, right? It's like the enthusiasts that like on the weekends, I like to skydive and jump out of an airplane. And some people are like, that's the scariest thing. And some people are super excited by it.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And then I think, go ahead, Melissa.
No. I was totally going to agree with you. I was going to say, yeah, that same exact thought, that chemical in your brain, that releasing of that chemical in your brain is literally the exact same. And it's really your mindset of how you set it up. You can let it hold you back, or you can literally let it guide you forward.
Right.
Yeah. This next kind of segue is that, we've learned about you and your mission and your passion and where you're at and how you got to this point. The next kind of part of this interview will be more tips from Melissa and I to help you see what kind of questions you have. We'll go through this. We have some designated kind of tips that we've pulled apart that we think will be beneficial for you right now where you're standing. But a bonus thing based on what you just said about, it could be a lucrative business and you're excited. Just my biggest tip would be like, get addicted to the process and the hike. Like it burns to hike. Growing pains are uncomfortable. Like, when you're working out and I actually stole this from Melissa's dad, so maybe he'll be stoked to hear this, but like when you're in the gym, your muscles are literally breaking and then you have to sleep in order to build muscle, right? So like, just know it's painful. Sometimes those clients want chargebacks and they're not perfect. And you, sweetheart, are getting into the business of hormonal pregnant women. So like, let me say a small prayer for you because that sounds stressful. But, so I'm sure it will be painful, but just big picture, like keep your eye on the big picture and know that it's going to be worth it at the end of that, event that you throw from them.
I have to bonus too, because I have to do the same thing. So this is also stolen from my dad. If you haven't seen the interview with my dad, watch it on Insporise. He's an inspirational person to say the least. Yeah. But another thing that one of his teachings that plays right into this, he calls it the invoice. So whenever you want something in life, you go to a store and you want to buy something, they say, okay, great, absolutely, you can have it. You have to pay for it. And so we understand the concept when it comes to a money transaction. We understand that we can't just go to Walmart and say, yeah, I want that, treadmill. And they go, sure, go ahead and take it right out of our store. Like, give us the money first. Life is the same thing, especially business. So if you want something, you want this business, you want your next client, you know, you want to prosper in this industry, there will be things that come up, and they might be related to business and they might be completely unrelated to business. You might be right in the middle of an amazing job for a client, and your water heater might break. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, how could this happen right now while I'm in the middle of this amazing client? Like, that's the invoice that needs to be paid. So it's a yin and a yang in life, and there's always going to be that balance. And so if you want something great, there's going to be things that come up that might seem like they're trying to pull you off your road. It's trying to pull you off that track, but it's just the invoice to be paid. And if you just look at it like that, then you're like, cool, I paid the invoice. I'm continuing down this journey. And so, yeah, going with that mindset,
Yes,
will help you a lot more than thinking that things are going to go wrong and kind of focusing on that.
so bonus question talking about invoices or tip is, I swear the biggest client, the best warm like sales call, they're like, I've already looked at your work, it's so amazing, like I think I'm going to go for this, $5,000 package. And let me tell you, when that call comes, know that your daughter will be sicker than a dog on that day. She'll be throwing up on you. You're like trying to hold your baby. Your car will break down. Your phone will crack. Like
Get into a car accident, whatever.
the invoice comes and it's like, oh man. So yeah, between those two things, know the invoice is going to come. Expect the unexpected.
I be happy about it. Like I said,
excited.
that's like the last thought I had, which I was trying to like formulate, but it's basically like, you can look at it like, oh, all these negatives are going to come and I have to just kind of like get through all these obstacles. But if you don't look at it like it's an obstacle, or you don't look at it like it's a negative, and you literally look at it like, thank you so much, invoice. Now that I've paid you, now I can have whatever it is that I want. And so if you thank not to get too much off topic, but there's another instance of this. There's a book that I absolutely love. It's by Jen Sincero, and it's called You're a Badass with Money. And she's got a series of books called You're a Badass. And she talks about how the relationship with money is, we think that we want it, but we are afraid of it, really. We have such a negative relationship with money. When a bill comes in the mail, we're like, oh, I gotta pay this. Or like you think about money and you're like, oh, I only have $12 left in my bank account. Like every time you actually relate to money, you're not thanking it. You're not like appreciative of it. Even if you have a little of it, you're not necessarily appreciative of it, especially the parts of it that you have to give away. So like a bill comes in, and if you're like, I'm so happy to pay this electric bill. Why? Because you have electricity. If you didn't pay this electric bill, you wouldn't have electricity. So being thankful to pay that bill for the opportunity to have that electricity, or, your car payment. If I didn't have this bill to pay, I wouldn't have a car. So it's kind of the same thing with like, if I didn't have this obstacle to get through, I wouldn't be able to get to the next phase. So being really thankful, which seems so counterintuitive, but being super thankful for any of the negatives that come into your life while you're trying to be on this path changes the game.
Absolutely. It's just another test, right?
Yeah, life test. I think that's a really great point, Melissa, because while we can talk about all the craziness that happens in working for yourself, you can also, as much as it's fun to joke about, here we are working on Labor Day, the three of us could get our laptops, make phone calls. Melissa could drive from Vegas right now to Phoenix with us. We could go to the beach. We could fly, like you can do all of these opportunities with our kids, without our kids. Like the freedom that really comes from this is always like the thing to be thankful for. You're like, no matter how hard it is to have to like change a diaper and be on a sales call at the same time, you're like, the invoice of the thing I'm paying for is that I get to be the one with my baby. It's me, Yeah. And, or whatever the thing is, the nomad life, it's the financial freedom, the time freedom, the fitness freedom, like whatever the thing is that someone's trading the invoice for, you got to focus on exactly like you said, the electricity. Find the electricity of your business that you're paying for.
And even the client that you're working with, like being so thankful that you get to help them, right? Like, once again, our motto on Insporise is we rise by lifting others. So the fact that you get the opportunity, no matter how difficult it could be down the road, you get the opportunity to put that smile on these people's face. And like that in itself, there's no better feeling than helping someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is why we do it, right? At the end of the day, that's it. You know, as a mom, you are so sleep deprived and you can barely even function. But then when your kid smiles at you, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing. And everything, all the pain that you've been feeling, all the hurt, all the exhaustion goes, and you don't even think about it another second. I feel like it's the same thing, at least, and I've only done this a few times. However, the feeling that I got when, you know, it all came together and it was perfect. You know, it doesn't matter how many hours it took, it was perfection and amazing. So yeah, thank you so much. Can I really quick tell you guys about one of my thoughts when meeting a potential client is?
Can I interrupt you first and tell you that just based on that, what you just said, I'd like the world to know that Chelsea is a perfectionist. And so if she's planning your event, she will absolutely bring utter perfection. And, you know, sometimes we think of perfectionists as not a good thing, but in this case, if you want your event tip top in every single aspect. Okay, sorry, I had to plug you real quick.
Please, go on.
Why, thank you. or my, as my husband would call it, what does he say? He would say that I'm being mental, so to speak. But
good.
I'm just being perfect. That's all.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So I've only planned a friend's baby shower and then my own events. So I'm going to make sure that every time that I meet a potential client, I know that it won't be always over a Zoom call. It might not always be over the phone. So meeting in person in the Phoenix Valley area, I feel like the key, at least to everybody that I know, their heart is through treats and snacks. And, you know, being a mom, I'm always making something, and Pinterest has just been, you know, an inspiration in so many ways. So I will always come to each, you know, sit down consultation with treats. These are homemade blackberry coconut Mounds bars with dark chocolate on top. And yeah, we get to enjoy these, but potential clients would also get to.
Or, you know, your friend who's over here in Vegas, you just overnight those right over here.
My marketing brain went to you're bearing a baby and I'm bearing snacks.
Right. And I feel like me personally as a mom, I was like always hungry. And I feel like when you're ready to plan your baby shower, you are 6, 7, 8 months, like you're ready to, you're getting to the end of it, right? So you're very hormonal, you're very hungry, you're very tired. So why not bring treats? I just think that it's brilliant.
I think I'm just trying to picture, like, if I didn't know you and I didn't know how skilled you were, I'm pretty sure I would hire you just on the fact that, like, my mouth would be full of chocolate and
you're like, yeah,
very, very goodness. And I'd be like, you're hired. Like, yeah, good job. I love it.
You have something too, Melissa, right, about when you give someone something, they feel the need to like give back to you also. So I definitely think that it's a really smart business marketing tool also to bring someone something.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I'd like to come from a place of all humans are good. Like we all have an innate instinct to help each other. We're not on this planet alone. We weren't made to be alone. We were, when we were cave people, we were in tribes. So I think that everybody kind of has a need to give to others. And if you initially come into a business consultation saying like, I'm not asking for anything from you, I want to do something for you, and even on top of what I can do for you in planning your event, here's another gesture of what I can do to you, like that puts the customer in a really good mindset to be like, well, like this is a great partnership already. What can I do for you? I can hire you, so like mentally, that really puts them in a great place.
So I think this is actually a perfect segue with kind of all of the tips that we're talking about to get into the next part where we really want to focus on, you're new, you've started to kind of tap into your network of what you like, who you already know and who you can serve. But the next part is, how do I get in front of people that I don't know, and what does that look like? So for me, the very first thing that I think of when I think of an event planner is I'm like someone who is crafty. I'm like the amazing Pinterest lovers of the world who are like, I can turn this soda can into the most amazing vase, and all these things. And then you have a level of customer service that's going to happen, like we touched on with like event planning and budgeting and those kinds of things. And then there's the sales negotiation type of thing that happens, which I feel like cannot be that, like if you haven't had an experience in sales, it's not that natural. Sales, I feel like for me, is its own language. You learn these tips and tricks of negotiation, knowing your worth, price, and some like the tips of, well, actually this will take 10 hours. So if you're asking for this, it is more. Those conversations are uncomfortable, and there's a skill to that. So there's like the actual industry. My one specific tip is knowing those things. How do you get content that's going to portray like who you are and where you want to be, even if you're not specifically there right now? Because that's the number one thing. You're like, I'm new. Event planners are very content heavy. Look at my amazing balloon arches and the babies and the presents and the flow and the cakes and the everything else that you could possibly think of. If you don't have a ton of pictures to start off with, where do people start? So my first tip would be, I would think that you would incorporate your girls was really important in some of the conversation we had prior. So doing stuff with like a baby on your hip and Ava holding your hand, and you guys are picking out balloons together, and you guys are standing in Target or, like doing crafty things together. Those types of like content that's going to show that you're out working and you're including your kids, and pictures with flowers and headshots and all of those kinds of content related ideas, as well as inspiration, right? You could easily create engagement with somebody to be like, who loves this Halloween themed baby shower? Who wants to do a Christmas themed baby shower? Would you prefer this color or this color? And then creating that engagement that happens on Facebook. I'm getting ready to invest in my next theme for baby shower. Should I do bears, or should I do, like this kind of, oh my gosh, I love the baby showers that have like the umbrellas and the rain and it's some kind of
the April showers.
Yeah. So, it's like, which one should I invest in next? Making sure that you have stuff that's, for the future, that's showing now, that's showing your creativity, some inspiration ideas, like all of those things would be where I would start, with where you're at right now.
User feedback's going to be your best friend right now. Whereas like the more, in sales, they say, I'm sure we all know this, but just to reiterate, in sales, they say a lot of times you need 7 touches in order to convert somebody. And so if somebody saw that you say, like Nycki said, somebody saw that you were showing, do you like bears or do you like umbrellas or whatever, that could be one touch. And then another touch is like, look at the snacks that I made, like your the treats that you make, look at these treats. Do you like it in chocolate or do you like it in peanut butter? Or, and just constantly be doing that. When you get 7 touches down the road, somebody might message you and say, oh my goodness, I saw that you just posted a thing about peanut butter or chocolate. Like, my cousin is, pregnant and is interested in baby shower, doing a baby shower. Could I send her your contact info or something like that? Like, it might be as simple as that, where like the more that you engage anybody that you're bringing into your social media atmosphere, that they see these things that you're doing. And because you're asking for their feedback, you're not just posting something that says, here's what it is. You're posting something that says, tell me something. They feel a lot of people need an invitation to talk to people, and so if you're asking for that invitation up front of talk to me, they will they'll reach out. It'll be an easier reach out. They'll feel like you've asked for it.
Exactly. And I mean, I think that engaging people is so important. Thank you so much for that tip. I feel like people really there are some people like Melissa that don't want to plan anything. They're like, your ideas, your inspiration, I'm on board. I'll just okay it. And then you have people that really want their hand in their decision making. Do I want this color? Do I want that color? Do I want this pen? Do I want, whatever it might be. Some people really want their hand in it. So I really love that idea and the inspiration of keeping people involved. I know that something, further down the line for the future, something that I want to develop is even a registry on my website that a future guest of a baby shower or a mom could even create her own registry on my site. And then she could take it and, give it to family and friends, just to make it even easier. People don't like a lot. They like, just to quickly choose. The easiest option is always the best option for people. That's why entrepreneurs are the 1%ers, as Melissa says, because if it was so easy, everybody could do it. So a lot of people do pick the easier option, but some people don't.
Yeah, giving them an option is, I feel like, an amazing tactic when planning, and then also when
Developing.
when developing. Yep, the user feedback, I just feel like, is something that's so easily skipped over. But one of the most important aspects of, I feel like, any business, like, you as the business owner could be so involved. It's like asking for a third party's opinion, like, you as the business owner could be so involved in your ideas and your concepts that you think it should be A, but in reality, other people are looking at it and go, why didn't she do B? So having that user feedback, and then again, tying into what we said before, not getting into like a negative headspace if somebody doesn't necessarily agree with the way that you've set it up. Everything is a learning experience. Everything is usable feedback. But in a social media sense, like Nycki was saying, being able to engage them in that way and asking them to help you choose, like, do you like this or do you like this? It's twofold. It's helping you gain some insight, and then it's also helping them engage with you so that later on they can, provide some leads to you.
Yeah. So to answer Nycki's question, she was saying, like, how do you get content if, you're not doing this on a day-to-day? Having a soon-to-be 7-year-old, we are constantly creating and doing things in our household that are fun things. We're always planning parties and having people at our house or doing something at other people's houses. There's a few couples that we spend a lot of time with that also have kids. So I feel like, and just give me your feedback, something that I would do to create the most content is just making sure that I am being photographed or having like the camera available to take pictures of those things so I can show people and showcase what I'm capable of.
Yeah, it's definitely an unnatural reaction to be mindful of knowing that you need a lot of content. So taking the opportunity and knowing, even if you're out for a walk, when you're at Target, if you're like, I'm just going to quickly go get some laundry detergent, you're like, you know what? We're going to go swing by the flower aisle, or we're going to go look at some baby clothes, or we're going to, you know what I mean? Like something I can see this season that, there's a lot of dark blues and navies and gold is really in, like just anything that you can take the opportunity to get your face in front of for your content, I think is really great. Yep. So I would say photos of yourself, including your kids, because that's really important into your specific brand. And then giving people a lot of options to engage with you and knowing where to put that too. So there's things like Instagram, which I know everyone wants to be on there, but it's not very specific to your region and area unless it's already within your network of people that you know on Instagram. So of course you can do shareable content, like, what do you guys think of this? And maybe someone will share it, or, please share my event, or giveaways and things like that. But I think that your best success avenue is going to be a lot of the local Facebook groups. Make sure you're in all the mommy groups. And
already done.
There's a science to that. You can only post your business on Tuesdays, and it needs to be in this thread or not this thread, or too much advertising or no links. So there's definitely a science to people learning that, because those are the only groups, right? There's only so many Phoenix mom groups. And if you get kicked out of them, it's really going to damper on your business. So yeah, I'm glad that you started to do that. I think it's a really great tip for you or anyone listening to make sure that they're utilizing Facebook groups.
I just had a thought. Connecting with other businesses that, and I think this is Nycki's idea originally, connecting with other businesses that are in your niche. So photographers that do pregnancy shoots, linking up with them, any sort of, even if it's like a baby store, they sell baby clothes or whatever, going to the owner and saying, can I leave my cards here, and vice versa.
Sorry to interrupt, but another thing that I was thinking is even doing it at an OB's office.
Very smart. Yep.
And just chatting with a couple of local doctors and just saying, hey, if you have moms, I would love, a lot of them have their little board, their little pin board, and just putting, my card up there. Yeah.
Love it.
That's a really great idea.
Yep. I don't know if this transitions well, but we're going to do it anyways. So I feel like we're doing a lot of talking about her brand. And so I just kind of want to move to this topic, because I'm not really sure, Nycki, if we've ever kind of explained it in any of our videos, but Nycki's background is owning her own marketing company, which she's now adding PR and expanding her business. And so, she's been very, very successful in her marketing company with helping startups in particular. And so that's why she's qualified to give Chelsea these tips. And my background has been for almost 15 years now, a web design and development company. So I've worked with thousands and thousands of business owners, from startups to large scale companies. And so what we kind of didn't touch upon, Chelsea, is that when, after you have this passion, and after you, decide, I can do this, and this is really what I love, and where do I go from here? Bless you. Then what does that look like? How do I transition a passion or an idea into a physical thing? A business it becomes a tangible thing, and it has its own face, if you will, and that's your brand. And how do you do that, and what's the importance behind it? And so one of the tips that we were going to talk about is that when you're starting a new business, the first place that I like to start with it, or I coach clients to start with, is their name, obviously. making sure that that is something that resonates with them and that it portrays what they're doing in a very quick, God bless you. Go ahead. You just sneeze.
I'm being so.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Allergies are a bitch, man. You're good. You're fine. So in terms of the name, like that is very important. Just to give another little tip, I know that we've already chosen it already. So this is, we did this with you, but you want to try to get something geared for not only yourself and your clients, but for search engines. Right. So you want the search engines to be able to pick up something that is either a real word or implied, like blessed belly events. Obviously there's an implied meaning behind it, and the search engines with their algorithms will pick that up and understand exactly who your clientele should be. So that's really important. And then now transitioning, now you have the name, obviously the domain name, and then building the website and your logo and your colors and whatnot is what I'd like to guide people on their first step when they're starting out, because that becomes who your business is. Just like there's you, me, and Nycki here, your business is its own entity and it needs its own face and its own identity. So doing that is really, really, really important. A lot of people, even today, which is really funny to me, even today, people skip over that, like, I don't need a website. I can, do my business on Facebook. Facebook, I know Nycki probably wants to throw her 2 cents in on this too. Facebook owns your business if you put your business only on Facebook. You don't own it at that point, because the people that you're adding on there are not yours, and the conversations that you're having on there are in your Facebook messages, and at any given moment Facebook could turn you off. You could just say something in a message that Facebook doesn't like. It's happened to the best of us. And
I feel like it's an unsafe platform. Not that it's not a great one, it's just not the best for just exclusively doing.
Right. It's good for so many things. It's an amazing resource for so many things, and I wouldn't recommend not having a Facebook presence, but if you're going to run your business exclusively on a social platform, it really doesn't matter what social platform. If you're not going to have your own business identity and your own place for your business to live, then it doesn't technically exist. The internet, is not going anywhere. So having that is super important, because then that spins you off to everything else. Like if you do business cards after that, great. You have the logo, the name, the domain, like the contact information, all to put on your card because you started with that aspect. When you're first starting out, it can definitely be daunting to say, like, well, I don't have any content, in Chelsea's case, like, I haven't planned an elaborate, huge, aside from maybe my own and my friends, like, baby shower, where I have all of this photo content to put on there, or a portfolio or anything. And that's okay. Like, that's totally workable. You don't have to start from a place of, I have all this stuff. You can start exactly where you are, and like Chelsea said, it's not overnight. You can build up as you go, but starting that process, having your business, having a brand, having the website, that is what's going to make it real. And that was one of the things I said to Chelsea was, she was like, oh, I don't know, what it's going to look like, or what it's going to do, or what my services are. And I said, just let's get it online. It will be real to you after that. And she was like, oh my goodness, it's real. Like it's the mindset. It's just all of a sudden it's like a light switch. It exists now. So I would say that is the most important thing. Even if you're thinking that it's a scary task to get a website up, if you need any help and you want to talk to me directly, that's fine. If you want to go and, you don't even have to be a WordPress developer, but just, do something that is not going to, like Nycki said, like start your business out hindering it. You're going to start it, slowly, but with the right methods.
I want to touch on the slow part too, because I remember doing my first website with you, Melissa, and I felt like it was the end all be all. I'm like, what if my bio is not perfect? What if my services section is wrong? What if I want to change my keywords of the about section? It is not written in stone. It is literally exchanging some words as you move on and grow. Getting something pen to paper is better than having nothing 10 out of 10 times.
Yep.
Yeah, if I could
9
say
out of 8 times.
Yeah, if I could say
9 out of
something
10 times.
if I could say something on that too, I feel like knowing yourself is truly important in entrepreneurship. I feel like if you know how you learn and how you operate. So for me personally, what I did is I sat down with pen and paper, as Nycki said, and I literally wrote out word by word what price point I wanted to do for my services and what this would include, even before I typed it out. Because that's just how I learn. I'm a visual learner. I need to see it on paper. So I guess when you're taking on clients, if your business is a client-based business, just one tip that I could give, even just being a new business owner, is just know who you're working with and know that they're not interchangeable. Everybody is different. So for me personally, I have different packages kind of based on, what each person might need, because it's not a whole group of people. It's very individually based. And somebody might need to see it, in a picture, and somebody might need to see words, and somebody might need to hear it. Everybody is so different. So just going into it and starting a new business, just because kind of that's what we're talking about here the most, is that it's so important to know your audience, so to speak.
And yourself, I guess, and how, right, like you said, like knowing how you learn and knowing how other people interact with that.
Right.
Great tip.
Yeah, it's a really great tip. And I guess we'll segue this into my last tip. And I also, before I start, just want to touch on, there's so many dynamics to building a business that, as you've probably gotten this far in the recording, the video, the podcast, however you're listening to this, is that we are really talking about how to get, visuals. And this is kind of one pillar of starting a business. Of course, we could go into, website development and legalities and terms and conditions and mindset. And there's a million blocks or bricks that get built into this business. But this next tip is really about the content, how you get seen, where you need to be at. And my last one is how to start making money today. Because I think those are some of the things that could become the most overbearing if you're trying to figure out if you should start a business or not. Is it going to make me money? How long till I make money? How much do I have to invest up front? What does that look like? I really, truly believe that in almost any service or product or consumer B2B, any kind of business, you can make money up front. You just have to know kind of a pre-sale formula in order to do that. So my tip to Chelsea was that you can book calls with people and pre-sell them, get on those Facebook groups, message people, talk to them, ask who's pregnant, do the work, do the footwork, and then pre-sell something that's in 60 days with no products, with no budget. You don't need to figure out all of the money things up front. You just say how much help do you want? This is my package. This is where I would really like to start, and tell them that in order to guarantee their spot in their weekend or whatever, they have to pay, 50% up front, even if it's 25% up front, 10% up front, depending on, if they have a $5,000 budget, maybe they only want to do 10%. You're going to have to work out those numbers and the logistics of that. But you could absolutely go on Facebook today and message people and be like, do you need some help? Even if you just wanted to book me for 5 hours, all you have to do is pay me 50% up front. We'll book a day. We'll book an in-person meeting. We'll do a this, a that. in almost every single business, I could come up with some similar situation or way to get paid today. And I think that mindset and hustle and know-how, because I think Chelsea's first thing to us was, well, what do I need to buy? And how do I get this? And where do I go? And I'm like, you don't need to buy anything because there's no one to buy for yet. So hopefully that was helpful to you, Chelsea. I really think that can be daunting for people. It's like, how do I make money? What has to happen? If you have a good online presence and a good pitch and a good close, the money will come.
And you have treats.
You have treats, a cute product, a good bubbly personality.
But
Yeah.
really quick, just to touch on, that also, I know, and you said that you could go on and on about terms and conditions and everything like that. Also, something that's just very important is even asking for half upfront or 25% upfront. My mother-in-law owns a baking company, and she always asks for 50% upfront, and then the rest before she even hands the cake the day of, or the product the day of, because she said a bunch of people will figure out a way not to pay you. And that's another thing. And I mean, that's getting into a whole nother, can of worms.
Yeah.
The insuring and bonding yourself and all those deals. But I know that is definitely a format that I'm going to use while developing my business, is asking for 25% or half upfront. And then, the day of the event, even before I even begin to do my work, asking for the rest. It's just going to be black and white. That's what I'm going to do. And if a client has a problem with that, they're going to find that out in the first 30 minutes that we can have a consultation. And then also another way that I would like to promote my business in the beginning, to get myself out on social media, the mom groups, whatever it might be, is just offering a little bit of a discount, just to kind of promote and get my name out there, for sure.
Yeah, I would really love to see you do something in the mom groups that was like, the first 100 women to support my page. Like, I would be happy to do a drawing for X amount off, or there's going to be, there's a lot of types of giveaways or engagement options that don't
100%.
require Facebook ads. It doesn't require capital. A lot of people kind of go down this rabbit hole of, this is what I need. It's like, it's not what you need. Sure, if you just have $500 laying around and would like to run Facebook ads to every mom in the Phoenix metropolitan area, by all means. If you don't want to, you do not have to start off like that. You can absolutely just be authentic. One thing that I preach until I'm blue in the face is that social media is for being social. And while some people forget that and don't want you to talk to them on there for whatever reason, it is called social media so that we could talk to each other,
No way.
No way.
I believe it.
Love it. Well, we're super excited, Chelsea, to watch you grow and be able to give you more tips. And while I wish I could just hand you a business in a box, Melissa and I have thought about that business a lot of different times. It does never work out.
Little box.
Just here's your business in a box. Here's everything you need to know. It is a learning curve. It does take time. You do have to spend days on marketing and days on websites and days on content and days on generating income and days on those clients eventually will come in, so take time management, get organized, micro goals. I know Melissa loves her micro goals. She keeps me accountable for all of those kinds of micro. She's like, what are micro goals today, Nycki?
We can do a whole video on micro goals.
We have a Trello board just for micro goals. So I love it. I know I'm really excited. I can only imagine how excited you are and how excited Melissa is. So hopefully this is not the last that we hear from you. I would love to be able to keep touching base. Answering more questions. I feel the need to go find some kind of high-end event planner that's going to help you to be inspired, you know, like maybe they have terms and conditions to find on this platform. You know, I love the idea of being able to help you as much as I can, but really this whole platform is built because you want to follow somebody who's doing what you're doing. You know, we got to find you that inspirizer that is going to be like, let me take you under my wing and show you all the tips. Do not price out your packages like that, because let me tell you a story. Like,
Yeah.
I can only tell you some of my terms and conditions from Melissa. She's like, don't do that one. Or you have to add this one, you know.
Take that one out, put this one in.
Yeah, this is not the right wording. You don't want to do that. Awesome. Melissa, any closing thoughts? Oh, you're welcome. Of course.
I'm so glad to have both of you in my life, both professionally and personally. And Chelsea, I'm so excited that you're on this journey. I feel like, you know, anybody who jumps on this journey, we're all in it together. You know, we're all here to help each other. And this is why this platform exists. So come find Chelsea on Insporise, find her on all her other social media, her website, and let's all keep supporting each other and keep moving forward and bring our goodness to the world.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so excited for you.
Me too.
Welcome
Me too.
Welcome to the club. That's what I feel like.
Yeah. Get ready.
Get ready. All right, ladies,
I'm
it was
so
really
ready.
great chatting. I think our time is just about up. So
Yep.
stay tuned. And I'm very excited to talk later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.